Welcome to Marketing Your Car, the podcast for funnel hackers everywhere. You are now part of a small group of underground entrepreneurs who are trying to change the world through the products and the services that we believe in. But because we don't rely on venture capitalists, we don't have financial safety nets. So we have to do things differently. We have to do things smarter. We do that through an art and a science that we call funnel hacking. Now, this podcast will give you a glimpse at the daily life of a funnel hacker. So let's get started. Hey everyone, this is Russell Brunson. Hope you guys are doing good. I'm actually taking the trash out right now. That's what that, you hear that wheeling sound? That's the trash can being wheeled. But this is going to be a crazy week. I thought I'd hang out with you guys before I get started on it. Tomorrow's Monday morning, and Monday is basically a week before Funnel Hacking Live starts. Technically it starts on Tuesday, but pre-registration starts a week from tomorrow. So, tomorrow's when I get to start doing all my presentations. And yes, I wait till the last week to my presentations. And do you want to know why? Because the stuff that we were doing 6 months ago, even a month ago, has changed. So I want to make sure I have the most up-to-date content of all time at every given moment. And that's the reason why. Well, that's one of the reasons. The other reason is I just haven't had time. But that's plenty of time to get everything done and make it amazing. I know what I'm going to talk about. I just got to get all the slides and examples and case studies and all that kind of stuff, put it together in a really cool way. Hopefully you guys can hear me. That's kind of loud, the trash can. Man, but I am, hold on a second, I'm going to, all right. This might be the only episode of marketing while you're taking the trash out, but I'm out here. It's cool. It's like super dark. We just got new neighbors, built a house across the street. We're on a really dark street where there's not many lights at all. And their house is lit up really cool. And then the moon is like, oh, she can see it's like pitch black, but it's like way off in the distance, right above the mountains. There's like this glowing thing that looks like misty and like foggy over it. And it's pretty amazing. Anyway, I'm excited because all the snow's been melting. We had so much snow this winter, and then it rained for like 3 days last week and it all melted. And we're back down to, I can see the grass everywhere. It's so exciting. Anyway, so tonight was really fun. We went to church and then had meetings after church. And then with the kids, we went and played in the wrestling room, then jumped on the tramp, which was freezing cold. Then jumped in the hot tub, which was super warm. And now we've been putting him to bed. My wife's actually in there putting him to bed. I snuck out to do the trash because they wear me out, those little buggers. I love them, but they wear me out. Anyway, so Funnel Hacking Live is like a week away, which is crazy. And it's been interesting is like, you know, last week we had our FAT event here in Boise in our new offices, which was like super fun. And I just have this bad habit of like booking way too many things all at the same time. But it's just been fun. Like there's something with like finishing the book and then creating everything for the FAT event and then creating everything for this Funnel Hacking Live event where it's like all these concepts and things that we're talking about right now are becoming so clear. I don't know if you guys have done that, where you've had a chance to go through like really deep immersion. But like, it's just weird, all these connections that you made that don't when you're dabbling and goofing around. That's why I think people should like go really deep when they're, you know, becoming a master at what they're trying to do, and like, you know, become unbalanced for a while where you're just spending insane amounts of time. But it's been, anyway, it's just been interesting. And one of the fun things, that I've been thinking about, my dad came in town last weekend as well, which is always awesome. And, I was thinking about business as a whole. Like, it's such a weird, I don't know, playground's a word that pops in my head. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but it's this weird playground where you go out to school, you know, and there's all these people, there's all these different types of kids, right? And there's the athletes over here, and then there's like the people that are in band, and there's like the drama kids, and then there's like the skaters, and then there's like, you know, there's all these different like groups at the playground, right? When you typically go out there, like you go and you play with the people that fit in your mold, right? So I'd go play with the athletes. We play basketball, we play football, we compete against each other, we tried to win, and that was like what drove us at recess. But I'm guessing the other groups probably didn't do that. Like they were, I don't know what the other groups were doing. but I'm assuming, because I mean, we didn't play games with all the kids, but you know, and as I got older, I focused on wrestling, and that became my thing. And it was a deep passion of like, how do I become the best? And at first I wanted to be the best in the state. And then after I was a state champ, I was like, I want to be the best in the country. And my senior in high school, I took second place in the country. And then I was like, I want to be the best in college in the country. And I never hit that goal. I guess technically I didn't hit the best in the country either in high school. I was 2 points away from that, but college, I was like, I want to be an All-American, I want to be a national champ, and I didn't get those goals. But I always knew, like, that's the person I have to beat. I was aware of him, and I looked at him, and I watched their matches, and I studied them, and I looked what they were doing, and I understood them. I understood their moves, and I understood what drove them so that I could beat them. And I always was aware of the people I had to beat, you know? And that's just like, as an athlete, that was always how I viewed the world and viewed business, not business, but how I viewed things, right? I mean, for, man, you know, almost 2 decades of my life, that's what it was. It's like, hey, here's where I'm at, who's above me. I need to find those people, I got to figure them out, and I got to beat them. And that was what I understood. And I always assumed like that's how everybody thought, right? Like, but I guess, like, I'm guessing back at the playground, the other kids, like, I'm guessing the band kids didn't do that, right? They hung out and they played music together and they had a good time. And then the drama kids, they made plays together and they had a good time. And then, you know, the skaters, they skated, and you know, I don't know all the different cliques and stuff, but everyone kind of did their thing. And I always just assumed that everyone thought the way that I did, because that was the only world I knew. And it's been interesting as I've come into business, because for me, business was like the next sport, right? Like, I got into business right. I mean, I was learning about it in college, and I was wrestling. Then when my senior year, I didn't hit my goals. I fell short. In fact, I didn't even qualify for the national tournament, which was like, it destroyed me. And it would have destroyed me if I didn't have the next thing. And for me, like, business, I was dabbling in, and that became my new sport. Like, it was like, okay, here's the sport here. I got to figure out, I got to, like, and it's interesting, like, you know, concepts of funnel hacking and stuff that I share with people. You know, I always talk about, like, I look at people successful and I modeled them, and I did, but it was different than that. Like, for me, it was a sport. Like, I came in, I was like, okay, this is you know, I'm in a new playground, looking around, like, who are the kids that are winning? And I was like, okay, boom. And the people I saw at the time were like Armin Moore and Alex Mendozian, Mark Joyner, like David Fry. Like, these are all the guys I saw who were, like, successful. And so for me, it was like, okay, what are those guys doing? And then just like wrestling, I look at them, I scout them, I watch them, I study them, I learn them, and like figure out what makes them tick. And then, like, when I understand that, then I go and I compete against them, right? Like, in wrestling, I have a match, and someday I'm going to come face to face. We're going to walk out on the mat under the lights. I'm going to, you know, put my shoes on. It's going to be me and them, and that's it. And if I haven't done my homework, like, I'm going to look like an idiot. But in business, it was weird, because, like, I would study these guys and try to figure out how to compete with them and how to, like, be successful like they were. And, like, that was my whole thing. And I was racing towards that. And but it was weird in business is that, like, we never got that moment, right? Where you step on the mat and you shake hands and you go and you find out, like, who prepared more. It was weird. I became friends with people, and our businesses grew together, and, like, I learned this cooperation stuff. I'm guessing they probably taught at the playground with the kids in the band and kids, like, in the, you know, the other groups where they all played together and had a good time. And it was fun, like, for business, like, it was fun because I collaborated and I had that. But, like, in my mind, I don't know about you, but, like, I always had, like from day one, I don't think I've ever publicly said this out loud, but for me, I've always been very aware of where I visualize myself in the totem pole in my market, like, where are people at, like, where up and down, like, that's just how my brain works. And when I've passed somebody, like, I'm aware of that, and when I know who's ahead of me, I'm aware of that. And we go, and, like, when I know that, like, I study those people, I figure them out, and I go and try to beat them. Like, that's just, like, how I'm wired. And it's been interesting as like I've gotten into, you know, as our business has been growing, and you know, I would say in our market, I don't think there's any businesses that are really bigger than us right now, outside of a couple companies that, you know, have taken on venture capitalists. They got millions of dollars dumped into them, which is, you know, the equivalent of steroids. Like, honestly, in sports, that's cheating. But in business, it's like, oh, yeah, someone gave us $14 million. Now we can cheat. Like, it's just ridiculous. So for me, I'm looking at that. I'm like, okay, I got these dudes who got steroids. They're cheating, but I got to compete against them. I'm very aware. Like, I mean, in my mind, it's very clear, like, the companies I'm going after, and it shouldn't be too hard for you guys who follow me to know, because we make fun of them a lot. But I'm aware of it, and I study them, and I figure out what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, and where the weaknesses are, and then we're attacking them. And it's been interesting, because, like, as I've been doing that, the kids at the playground who grew up, like, in band class, and they grew up in drama, and as skaters, and, like, all these other things, like, they're not used to it. And those are the guys I'm competing against, you know? And it's interesting because like they don't handle the heat well. Like we got in a but for me it's like this is a sport. Like business is nothing but a sport for me. It's like, who do I need to beat, and then we're going and we're attacking and we're going to beat them, right? Otherwise, what's the point of this whole thing? Like, it's, I mean, yes, we're helping people, and like that part is amazing on this journey, but if there's not like, that's who I need to beat, then what's the point of it? Like it's hard for me otherwise, right? And so anyway, someone that I kind of ruffled their feathers, actually thought through this podcast, funny, interestingly enough, but they messaged me and kind of told me off because they didn't like what I'm doing, because I'm aggressive, because I'm not playing like they're used to playing. And what they told me is, they said, my dad taught me never to burn bridges. And I didn't send this back, but I wanted to. And I thought, that's interesting, because my dad taught me how to win. And that's all that matters to me is winning. And anyway, I told that story at the FAT event, and people thought it was pretty, like everyone was laughing, but I was like, no, like it's, like that's how I feel. Like I'm very aware of who I'm going after. And I don't publicly, in fact, Dan Usher's here, he's making some videos for us. And I was showing the offer we're creating. There's one other person who's had more success in this. I'm not going to say their name, but there's one person who's had more success than me in this field of where this book is. And I was showing Dan those videos, and I was like, that's who I'm going against. That's who I'm competing against. That's who we have to beat. And he's like, I thought you guys were friends. I'm like, oh, we are friends, but it doesn't matter. I was friends with people on the wrestling mat, but when it comes to the sport, like, I have to win. Like, I'm going after them. Like, I'm not sitting around and trying to be nice. Like, my goal is to win, like, flat out. And I want to make sure that everybody understands that. And what's cool is, like, during this process, I'm making friends and all those kind of things, but it's a sport for me. Very clear cut. This is a sport, and I have people I'm competing against, and I'm going to win. And it's interesting because these other people aren't used to that, and they aren't used to that. Like, they've never been under the lights, with your shoes tied up, and it's you and them and no one else going head to head. And I'm used to it. I love it. I thrive off it. Like, I need it. I desire it. Like, I crave for that. And so it makes this game interesting, because the way that people are beating us right now is through, for the most part, venture capitalists, like steroids, right? And so it just drives me more. It's like, yes, okay, you're going to cheat with steroids. That's fine. I'm still going to win. I'm going to take you down, and then we're going to choke you out, and we're going to turn you to your back, and you're going to get pinned. And so that's how I view business. So I want to steal some of that to all of you guys. I know a lot of you guys out there were athletes. Like, you were the kids on the playground who went through that and experienced it, and like, that's your drive. Some of you guys, it's not. And you have to understand, when you step in the business world, like, that's who you're playing against. You're playing as athletes, people who that's their goal. And so when you come into your business and you look at your market, like, you need to be fully aware, like, where do you sit on the totem pole? Like, are you JV? Are you varsity? First team, second team? Where in the state are you? Where in the country? Like, because if you're not aware of that, then like it's kind of like, it's like, how do you win if you don't know who you're playing against, right? Somebody told me the other day, they said, it was after the FAT event, they said, one thing I discovered from being around you last 3 days is how aware you are of all the competitors in your market. And I thought it was interesting, because I am very, very aware. Like, I know what they're all doing. I'm watching them. And the things I like, we use, and the things we don't, we counterattack against them. And you'll see more and more of that throughout this year as we are aggressively going after our competitors, and we're going to surpass them through raw talent and skill instead of venture capitalist cash, like, which is amazing. I wrestled kids that were on steroids before, and it's interesting. They come out, they have big muscles, they huff and they puff, and usually the first 30 seconds to a minute, they're really strong. But what I found with the big dudes on steroids is when you choke them and you snap their head down, you block the blood. There's a carotid artery in your neck, and if you squeeze that and you block the blood, their carotid artery, instantly, within the second, they go down, and their muscles become weak, and they become soft like jelly. And the stronger they were, the weaker they become. That's what I found. Not that you guys care, but like, when I wrestle with big people, that was, I can't outmuscle this person. I can't take them down. So I have to get their head below me. We do a front headlock. We're going for a choke, cut the blood off the brain. Not long term, but just for a second or two. As soon as you do that, all your muscles lose energy. They stop. You fall, and then we attack, and we win. And it's similar. So anyway, that's just, there's some what's the book, The Art of War? This is The Art of War by Russell Brunson. Like that's the strategy. That's how it works. I talked to you before in a podcast about how you know when your opponents break. Like when you're out there wrestling someone, you're pushing them. Like you physically feel them break. Like their energy stops, their posture, their whole body like stops, and that's when you attack harder and faster and bigger, and that's how you beat people that are bigger and stronger than you. And so, that's what's happening, and I hope you guys are enjoying watching it. I'm having so much fun competing, and I don't know about you, but I love seeing the underdogs win. I love seeing the dude who's got better technique beat out the guy on steroids every single time, and calling my shot. That's the plan. That's what's happening, and I hope for you guys you do the same thing. Become aware of who your competitors are, and you don't have to be jerks about it. I'm probably too jerky sometimes. I apologize for that in advance, but be aware of it and understand that and run this like a sport. If you do that, that's how you're going to win, because this playground, nobody cares. Nobody cares like, oh, I grew up in band, I grew up in drama, I grew up in whatever. Like, okay, well, you're still competing against the athletes. And the athletes know how to win, they're going to win. And so be very aware of that going into it. And when you're inside of it, like start shifting your mindset to understand that, and it'll become fun. It becomes a game, it becomes a sport. I always tell people like this is one of the greatest sports ever, and it's exciting. So that's all I got for tonight. With that said, I'm done. It's freezing cold out here. I'm going to go inside and get warm. And for those of you guys who are going to be Funnel Hacking Live in a week, I will see you guys soon. I cannot wait. Appreciate you all, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed the behind-the-scenes look at our funnel hacking projects. You can also watch the Funnel Hacker online reality show and watch us build and launch funnels live at www.funnelhacker.tv. If you'd like to come hang out with your fellow funnel hackers, come join our Facebook group at www.projectclickfunnels.com. Oh yeah, and don't forget, you can get a free MP3 player with the first 257 episodes preloaded at marketinginyourcar.com. Join us next time, and remember, you're just one funnel away from your dreams.